Oh, The Division. It's a pretty fun game, but let's talk about some of its flaws. First of all, I can't get over how annoying the camera angles are, especially when you're playing co-op and your teammate walks into your view. They don't know they're in the way until you tell them, since it isn't a first-person game and they aren't directly in front of you. This makes fighting in close quarters kind of obnoxious, since there are limited places to take cover sometimes. Another thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this bothers anybody else but me, but everything that you take cover behind is exactly the same height, and that drives me crazy. Not everything in the world is waist height, guys. Come on. Some other gameplay elements that hindered my ability to enjoy the game were the repetitive enemies and missions, as well as the amount of glitches and bugs in the game. I could make an entire video about all of the things that break in this game, but I won't because that will make me angry. The story was pretty bland, to say the least. The idea of a virus wiping out a city or the planet has been done quite a few times before in other games, movies, and books. The characters themselves were pretty interesting at first, but as you play the game, it mostly becomes irritating when they start talking to you during missions. The side quest givers are funny at first too, but when every single one of them is supposed to be a reference or has a strange quirk, it loses its charm fast, and, like the rest of the game, becomes repetitive. Frankly, the story does nothing for me, and the fact that the only rewards for gathering all the collectibles is a silly coat and boring lore is pretty disappointing. If the game does have one redeeming quality, it's the graphics. It may be a dumpy post-apocalyptic setting at times, but the snow and the Christmas lights everywhere give the game a very vibrant color scheme, and there are plenty of interesting Easter eggs and funny things to look at if you don't run top speed through everything, like the repetitious nature of the game leads you to do. The replayability of the game is fine if you have friends, but as a single-player game, The Division is a complete waste of your time. But if you enjoyed games like Destiny and Diablo, then you'll probably enjoy this game too, running around collecting all that loot. The last thing I want to complain about is how reliant the game has been on updates. This is becoming a bigger thing for games. In fact, just a few days ago, a 5GB patch was out on the PS4 that was pretty much entirely for bug fixes for The Division, and the game is still a mess. I don't think I've played the game for an hour without something breaking, from not receiving mission rewards to unusable matchmaking on incursions. This game has way too many bugs. In the end, I wanted to give this game a 4 out of 5, but I ended up having to give it a 3.8 out of 5. It is a fun game to play with friends, however repetitive it may be, but it has way too many bugs to get a higher rating from me.